This is KONR-LP Anchorage, 106.1 FM, Out North Radio, and you're listening to the Mountain View Post Radio Hour. Thank you for tuning in this Saturday. My name's Kirsten. I'm one of your co-hosts.
And I'm Kate, and I'm your other co-host.
So, as of course everyone knows, well, if you've listened to the show before, this is the show about Mountain View and things that happen around the neighborhood and things neighborhood residents might be interested in. And you can learn more about the show and also about happenings in the neighborhood on our blog, which is mountainviewpost.com, mtviewpost.com. So, Kate, things have changed. There's a different feeling in the neighborhood over the past few days.
Yeah.
I've noticed. And the big difference is
that kids are all about everywhere.
Drum roll. Yep, school is out now, and summer is kind of in full swing. Although it still feels, you just mentioned, you feel like you still need to go to school, right?
Feels like today's a Monday.
So maybe it'll take a few days to kind of get into that summer mood, but I've definitely noticed there are kids all over the neighborhood now. Like my neighbors have a trampoline and are out enjoying the summer, and kids playing and bicycling all over this, all over. Yay!
Hey, I bought a $10 bike at a garage sale. So.
You did? Wow. I see. I need to go and look for something like this because I haven't had a bike in years now, and like with the weather, the days have been so nice, and we have the Ship Creek Trail right in the neighborhood to connect to. And also, have you noticed lately we have kind of a new bike boulevard in the neighborhood? Have you seen that?
No.
So it runs along Peterkin, and all it is really are they're just painted markings on the street saying, bikes go in this direction if you're going this way, and bikes in this way. But it really shows that the street is not just for cars, but also bicyclists. And I think, are you laughing at me for saying bicyclists instead of cyclists? Cyclists. So now it's a way for cyclists to connect from the Ship Creek Trail to, I think you can go all the way down, probably to that bike trail along the Glen Highway, right?
Yeah.
Right. So there are lots of places you can connect to if you are biking, cycling in Mountain View.
Yes.
And speaking of garage sales, you mentioned that you hit up some garage sales recently. You found some good stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of signs for them around the neighborhood. I
don't go to the ones in Mountain View.
Okay, you went outside the neighborhood. I know Kempton Hills had their big.
Lake Otis is really good.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking of ones in the neighborhood because I like to travel as short amount of, I like to travel as short a distance as possible. And also, when we were heading over here to the studio today, I saw a pretty good one, it looked like, on Taylor. They had some pretty good stuff out there.
The only bad thing about them in Mountain View is they don't take down their signs, so...
Oh, so you think there might be one, and then you go over there and nothing?
Yeah,
well,
pretty much. We went to one...
Set up for disappointment.
Over there, like in Elmore and Lake Otis, that just, like, in their backyard had so many bikes, and we're all like... I don't think that was a coincidence.
So maybe don't buy any of those bikes. The one I had my eye on Taylor Street, it looked like they kind of had maybe some furniture or maybe some like outdoor furniture, that type of thing. So I've been kind of on a roll lately with yard work, and like this summer weather has me wanting to go out and spend a lot more time outside. So if I can find a chair to help me do that.
Speaking of summer,
yes,
the library has the summer discovery program.
Yes. So we have a few. We're getting out of the school year and we're moving into summer, and there are a few events for kids or anyone really, I guess, who if you're looking for a fun way to spend your summer. And one of those, like you just mentioned, is the 2018 Summer Discovery Program at the library. So it actually started on May 19th, but you can probably dive in at any point.
Can probably get one from the library.
Right, from the Mountain View Library there. And it goes until July 31st. And once you sign up, you can track your reading, and then you can earn prizes. Do you happen to know what any of those prizes are, Kate?
I do not.
Okay, so it's a surprise.
But I do know that that's not all you have to do.
Oh, really?
There's some, like, on the poster, it has, like, a bunch of stars. And some of them say read, but the ones that are blank and say nothing, you have to do something that's, like, because the back has, like, suggested activities you should do.
Okay.
It says, like, blackout poetry, making an instrument out of recycled stuff, like a bunch of stuff like that. It says ride a bike and stuff like that.
So read, but also other kind of activities.
Yeah.
And I think you were going to try some of the blackout poetry, right?
Yes.
And you're explaining to me. See, I wasn't familiar with blackout poetry, but you explained to me that that's where you
get a book and then you just like mark out you draw black over everything except for some words, and then that makes a a poem.
See, we're both having problems with speaking today. Cyclist, poetry. We'll work out the kinks here in a few minutes.
Bicyclist.
So another event that's going to be going on here and kicking off here in June, it's an event, it's called Up in AK with Mao Tosi, and it's a basketball camp. And it's for grades 3 through 8. It's 3-on-3 summer youth basketball. It actually, it starts June 4th and runs through June 28th and is going to be taking place at Begich Middle School, but also at Clark Middle School. So
I've been to Begich maybe once or twice. I drove by into their yard and then left so we could drop off some kids for track.
I was going to say, were you pulling a prank because it's a competing middle school?
No,
Okay.
We're not like that. We may have some hatred towards them.
Whoa.
No, some of the
school's out, so.
We've heard some schools, when the kids are doing cross-country skiing, they kind of knock people over. So, not Begich, but people.
You've heard that it happens?
Yes.
Wow, I didn't know that there was such intense rivalry at the middle school level, but dang, I'm going to have to keep my eye out for that a little bit more. So, but there are going to be options both at Begich and Clark Middle School, so kids can go to either one.
And it doesn't matter what school you go to.
Exactly. It's summer, and everyone's welcome at either one, I think. And so it takes place Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And let's see, we have a schedule here. Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 11:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And the weeks, it's kind of divided into 4 week-long sessions. And so the ones at Clark, that'll be taking place June 12th through 14th, then June 19th through 21st, and then June 26th through 28th. So we are going to actually try and get Mao himself to come on the show maybe next week to talk a little bit more about the basketball program, but we thought we'd give you some heads up right now in case that's something that you want to have on your calendar.
And who is Mao?
Mao Tosi, he is the manager of the Northway Mall. He also runs a youth program. It's called AK Pride, and they run different youth interest clubs, and they have breakdancing and music and things like that.
Yeah.
And he's really active in the community, and I'm sure you'd recognize him if you saw him.
Probably.
Right? See, you're active in the community, he's active in the community. You'll bump into each other.
At some point.
Possibly next week here in the studio. So a little bit more about this summer program. According to the flyer, it says Up in AK is working with the Anchorage School District and Alaska Workstore to strengthen relations in our community as we unite people through basketball solutions. High school teens will have a chance to improve their basketball skills and strengthen their confidence, and also leadership skills through coaching responsibilities. There'll be a 3-on-3 youth summer basketball program. They'll be coaching, and teens will have the opportunity to supervise youth age 8 through 13. So it sounds like it's a good opportunity if you want to have that leadership experience, or if you're a younger kid and want to just go and spend some time on the court. Exactly. So that's coming up here in June, and we'll have more information about it next week on the show. And of course, we'll try to get more information up on our website as well, which is mountainviewpost.com.
So as you said last weekend, you said that someone is trying to replace the poles, and I haven't realized how much of them look very they're gonna die soon.
Are you starting to pay attention
Yes.
to notice now? That's a good point, because I feel like most of the times when I look at the poles, I see the top parts, and we're talking about the electrical utility poles, right?
Yeah.
So a little background.
The wooden ones.
Right, exactly. The wooden ones. The metal ones are a different story. But a little background for those who weren't able to tune in last week. We talked about a project that Municipal Light and Power is doing to replace between 150 and 180 poles, utility poles throughout Mountain View, because they looked at their service area and they saw that they have a lot of aging poles. They're specifically concentrated kind of in West Mountain View, where more than 3/4 of the poles are 20 years over their lifespan. And so you're starting to notice now they look kind of old. And so you'll probably also see some of those utility trucks around the neighborhood. I've noticed a few street signs saying that work's going to be taking place.
Yeah, the one where the Boys and Girls Club is, and then the road goes like that.
Mm-hmm. Right, so they're doing that work, and I've heard from Municipal Light and Power engineers that they are hoping to get that work accomplished this year, but we'll just kind of see how everything works out. Something else I noticed the other day. So speaking of neighborhood developments, you know that smoke shelter, or it's kind of a weird building. It looked like a bus stop or something, but it wasn't a bus stop.
I thought it was used for the army or something.
Right, and it's there on the corner. Let's see, the southwest corner of Mountain View Drive and Lane.
Kind of by the West Berlin and Houlihan's, like a little in that area.
Kind of, yeah. Right now, it's on the same lot as the Smoke Signals drive-through smoke shop, and it's across the street from the cleaning
That's
business.
ironic.
Right. So it's been sitting there for a long time, though. As long as I've lived in the neighborhood, it's been sitting there, boarded up. The windows are broken out. Nothing's been happening there. But yet the other day, I was driving home, and I noticed there was some work going on. And now the broken out windows have been replaced, and there's a nice new wooden porch there. And I was super curious, and so I pulled over and hopped out of my car and went to go. Right, I do this a lot. So I went to go talk with the guy who was working on it, and his name was Tony, and he owns the property and has owned it for more than 15 years now. And he said he doesn't live in Mountain View. He lives out in the valley, he said, and he's retired. But he'd been getting a lot of complaints about this particular structure.
It does not look the best from what I saw.
Right, exactly. And he'd been getting a lot of complaints about it. And so he's fixing it up. And he said maybe one day soon there'll be a little business in it. He mentioned possibly an ice cream shop or something along those lines, right? I perked up when he said that too. So time will tell what that turns into. Yeah. But just know that work is being done. And if you're used to seeing that structure is kind of old and busted out, times they are a-changing.
You might even be able to rent it out.
Yeah, no, that's
so it wouldn't
that
be
is a good
just
point.
one place.
That is a good point.
Except for the equipment.
It's pretty small too.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a little stand, but
you probably have to make everything in it. Anyway,
it looks much nicer, and I'm very excited to see what it turns into. So we are heading up now on a quick break, but when we get back, we have a quick interview about another fun event that's coming up in the neighborhood next Saturday, and I'm excited to talk about this one. It's Saturday evening. Kate, you look curious. You're going to see during the break if you can guess what it is. So stay with us, and this is the Mountain View Post Radio Hour. Stick around. We have much more coming up. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Mountain View Post Radio Hour. My name's Kirsten.
And my name's Kate.
And this is the show all about Mountain View. And so, Kate, one of the things we talk about a lot on the show, since you are a businesswoman yourself, are local businesses, right?
Yes.
And we've talked with Theron and Alicia from Cali's Smoky Barbecue and Soul Food, who coincidentally just graduated from the Land Trust Set Up Shop program.
That's cool.
Yeah. But anyway, we talk with a lot of local businesses on the show, and I always personally love hearing about what people are doing with their ideas and working to really get them out there, which leads us to our next interview. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to meet and speak with Tawana Allen, who is the owner of Creative Contours Fashions. And she runs a boutique out of her home in East Anchorage and curates different fashions from all over the country and brings them here to Anchorage and runs a fashion business. And so I was able to catch up with her yesterday because she is actually holding a pretty cool event coming up here in Mountain View in the neighborhood next week. And so I had the opportunity to visit her in her boutique and learn all about what is going to be happening next week.
June 2nd, we'll be having a fashion show at 10252 in Mountain View. It is from 6 to 8 o'clock. We will be modeling a lot of casual wear, evening wear. We're also going to have African wear. We will have plenty of food for, people to eat, live entertainment, and much more. We also will have a raffle.
So this is going to be the first fashion show for you at the Mountain View VFW. Give us a little background about your business. It's been going for about 3 years now, you said, and you have a background in retail.
Yes. Well, I have a background in retail. I used to work at Nordstrom's. I was a buyer over there, and I used to also work in the fashion, decorating the little mannequins. I left from there, then I also went to Sears. I was a manager over there. So I love fashion. I love clothes. So I decided to get into clothes because everybody liked my clothes and I was wearing it all the time. So I decided, okay, I'm going to do some clothes, and it's been such a hit since then.
What's the process been of of setting up shop for you and getting into business. And I know retail here in Anchorage can be tricky, but you have this pack shop. Your clothes are so cute here. A full shop space here. Tell me a little bit more about the process of what it was like getting your business up and running to the point where now you're having fashion shows and you have this boutique. And
well, it was actually easy. Most people usually say it's so hard. It's not, because I'm already into fashion. So when I'm out of state and I see different nice things that we don't have here in Alaska, I make sure I get with the vendors and stuff. And then I usually keep in contact with them to see all the clothes that they do have that we don't have here in Anchorage. I get them shipped here, or I also go out of state to get the clothes. So now that they are here, like I said, when I first started off, most people say it's hard. It's not hard. It's only hard if you make it hard. I started off buying all my fixtures and stuff, and then I started buying gradually the shoes. I encountered the shoes with the clothes, but it wasn't hard at all.
Tell me about, I guess, in general, the fashion scene in Anchorage, because I hear from a lot of people, oh, Anchorage is like 10 years behind in one way or another in different areas. Is it like that with fashion? And what's
yes,
it like?
It is. The fashion, well, I'm from Detroit, so where I come from, we dress up. I noticed since I've been here since 94, and, my husband and I, we go out, the people's not about fashion. They put on just jeans, stirrup pants, or leggings. I'm about putting on some nice heels, nice slacks, maybe a beautiful, nice, elegant dress. It can be sassy. It can be classy. I'm about putting on clothes. And the people here, they are behind, maybe 10, 15 years behind, but I keep up with my fashion. So I'm trying to keep everybody here in Anchorage up to date.
And it sounds like you found pretty good success or finding that audience of people who do want to look good, and you want to have a cute outfit when you go out at night. And
yes, but it's so good because it's like word of mouth. When one person come in here and they see my clothes, and then they out and about, somebody, they ask them where they get it from, and then they say Creative Contour Fashions. And they say, oh, we've heard a lot about that lady. And then just like with my friend Jasmine and Andrea, they usually have events. And like I said, when they do events, they always, keep me out there so people can keep knowing about my clothes. When we had Jasmine had a Wakanda ball. A lot of people come, and everywhere I looked around, they had on my dress, they had on my skirt, they had on my shoes, they had on my accessories. It's awesome. And just like now with you, I had no idea. I wouldn't have ever known you if it wasn't for Jasmine. So it's
those word of mouth connections.
Word of mouth, yes. Really? Yes.
So with that, because you've been doing this for a few years now, and like you just said, you found kind of good success by making those connections and being there at the events and having satisfied customers go and tell people about where they got their outfits. Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to other aspiring entrepreneurs who are looking to maybe break into retail some way or start up their own shop? Really, where do you start, and kind of what's the best way to go about that and get your foot in the door that way?
Well, with anybody, just don't start off thinking that you can just do something and this is going to be blooming. You have to really decide that's what you want to do. You're into fashion, you're into fashion. If you're into making jewelry, you're into making jewelry. But make sure that's what you want to do, because when you start doing it, and I've been always brought up to, when you start doing something, don't stop, finish it, and continue to do it. And I'm so much about fashion, like I said, and finishing what I do. I love it. It's fun. Like I said, I get a chance to meet a lot of people. I enjoy doing it.
So really, you have to find that thing that your heart's really in it.
And my heart is there. Oh, yes, it's there. Because then, like I said, I get a chance to meet a lot of people.
So at what point did you start doing fashion shows and doing events for your own business? And how has that worked out for you? And what can people expect to see at the fashion show coming up next Saturday?
Well, at first I didn't. For the first year, second year, I wasn't doing no fashion shows. Within the past year, I have gotten maybe like 5 or 6 offers every time they have events here to present my clothes. So word of mouth, from one person here, another person here, and then they just keep passing it along.
When I first heard that there was going to be a fashion show at the VFW Post, I was surprised because I didn't know that they did other events like that there. Can you tell me about the process of finding venues for your events? How do you decide where you're going to locate them, and what drew you to Mountain View?
Well, it depends on your line of clothes. And a lot of my clothes I have is like for casual wear. I have evening wear, and I also have ball wear. So, like, when you out there looking different places, there's a lot of places in Anchorage to go, but I try to stay somewhere where it was, reasonable to start off. I don't want to go anywhere that is too unreasonable. And like I said, there's a lot of places here like the center, which I'll be booking in September to do something, and as well as the Morgan Center out there. I think they're on Diamond.
So there are a few options around town.
It's a lot of options here. Yes. It's a lot of options. But since I know so many people here in Anchorage, and I've been here, like I said, since '94, I figured that place was a good place to present more of my clothes because it's such a big establishment, and there's a lot of veterans that goes there.
Now, I have very limited experience with fashion shows. I think I've seen one of them in my life. But of course, when you're in the audience, what you see is probably very different than what goes on behind the scenes. You see the polished final product, and all the models look so nice. Your experience on the other side of things as well. What goes into organizing an event like that, and how long are you working on putting it all together?
Well, you know what? It's only been less than a month since I've been putting this together.
Wow.
Yes. I decided that I wanted to, have a fashion show after we got done with the Wakanda Ball. And it's been less than a month, and I've gotten, all the flyers completed. I've gotten all my tickets done. I have all my models already, one-on-ones done with them. And, we are ready for the show. And everybody keep asking me, are you ready? And I tell them all the time, I don't have to get ready because I usually stay ready.
I think that's just good life advice in general.
Yes.
What are you most looking forward to about the show on Saturday?
Just seeing all of my clothes out there and a lot of people, enjoying what they see. And just having fun and meeting more people.
And your business now, you've seen such growth over the past few years. What's your big goal now? 3 years, 5 years from now? Where do you hope to see Creative Contour?
Well, I hope to be, in another establishment, something a little bit bigger.
You mentioned before that when you set up the shop, you really go all over to get your product and to buy these clothes. They're not coming necessarily from inside Alaska. Where do you get a lot of your inspiration, and where do you look for, to kind of keep an eye on trends and what might be appealing to Alaskan customers?
Well, like I said, Alaska people is like 10 years to 15 years behind the wave. They just don't even know how to dress. So I keep up with my fashion, and like I said, I'm from Detroit, so we're about the fashion. So when I'm out of town, which I'm usually out of town twice a year, I look at what people, is wearing. I like to watch a lot of fashion shows. And right now, they're wearing a lot of pixie skirts. They're wearing a lot of bodysuits. Lace bodysuits and stuff, and cute little African dresses they're wearing, and African shirts.
Yes, you have a few here hanging in the shop.
Yes.
Very cute.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you have this event coming up on Saturday. You are looking forward possibly to another event in September.
Yes.
Anything else on your schedule for this summer?
Well, right now nothing. It's just that when my other friends that I usually do events with them, they usually ask me. So whoever come and asks me, I'm usually there.
What advice, or what would you tell people in Alaska who have an interest in fashion and want to get more involved in it some way, whether it be finding a job at a boutique or just kind of breaking into the world of fashion in Anchorage specifically? Are there any resources you would recommend, or people that they should reach out to, or steps they should take to become more involved?
Well, how I got more involved, and I really enjoy the person, is Jasmine Smith. She's an awesome person. So I used to always be like, no, I'm not going to get too involved, go out there. But she always encouraged me, her and Andrea, to, you have beautiful clothes to want to get out there, put your stuff out there. So that is what I'm doing. I'm putting it out there.
So that's Tawana Allen. She's the founder and owner of Creative Contour Fashion, and the fashion show will be next Saturday at VFW in Mountain View. That's 10252 Mountain View Drive. Doors open at 5 p.m. and the show starts at 6. Besides the fashion show, like Tawana mentioned, there'll be live performances, a raffle, food, music, and more. And for more information or to purchase tickets, you can call Creative Contour Fashions at 230-3352.
Interesting.
Sounds like a good time. I'm really looking forward to seeing the show. I've actually never been to the VFW in Mountain View.
Have you bought tickets yet?
I haven't bought tickets yet. I'm kind of a last minute kind of person, I've noticed.
I could tell.
about it's not good. It's not good. I need to get ahead of the ball. But mark your calendars for the fashion show next Saturday. At doors open at 5:00 at the VFW in Mountain View. Hope to see everybody there. So it is the beginning of Memorial Day weekend now, right? Do you have any big plans?
Puppets and party poppers.
Party poppers.
Yeah.
Just
When my dad bought them, he had to show his ID, and I was just like, what? So I couldn't buy them if I was a kid? Well, I am a kid, but
wow, they didn't ask for your ID when you bought them?
no, they asked my dad for my dad's ID, and I was like,
Well,
okay.
so I'll be spending some time at your house doing party poppers this weekend. Wait, are those like the ones you throw at the sidewalk?
Well, we have some poppets. Those
Okay.
are the ones you throw at the sidewalk. And then there's the one where you pull the string and it explodes.
Sounds fun. So if you are the type of person who enjoys fishing, which I know a lot of our neighbors are.
I like fishing. I just don't like fish.
You know, I had my one and only basically experience fishing. I was out, I think, on one of the Susitna rivers when I was a kid with my dad, and my line broke, and he tied it again, and then I finally got something on the line, and I got this fish nearly up on the beach, and the line came untied. And so I've never actually caught anything in my life, and I think that's like a bad omen because I really haven't been fishing since.
My first time fishing was at a school, like, field trip, because I went to the native charter school, and we went ice fishing, and I had to hit a fish in the head with a rock, and I was just like,
Oh
no.
my gosh.
I was just like, no, thank you.
Really?
I kept that fish in a bag and then gave it to someone else. I'm pretty
Wait.
sure I ended up throwing it away because it got bad.
Should have just hit it with the rock, I guess. Well, as you know, the Ship Creek runs, like, it kind of starts right at the edge of Mountain View and runs all the way kind of through to downtown, and you can follow the Ship Creek Trail from Mountain View to downtown. And fishing is open currently in Ship
Cool.
Creek. You can't actually go fishing in the area of the creek that is, immediately adjacent to Mountain View. You have to go down a little bit farther, more towards the mouth. And of course, like you mentioned, you do have to have a fishing license if you're
Or else that's illegal.
right. If you're 18 and older, sport fit or licenses are required.
What if you're under 18?
I don't think you need a license if you're under 18.
May have to go fishing.
Right. I think the thing to do would be go down to the bait shack down at Ship Creek. There's a business down there where you can pick up fishing supplies and maybe check with them about exactly what regulations and what you need to get started.
I don't plan on going fishing because someone gave my mom a huge thing of salmon.
Ooh.
So, not going fishing.
It might be fun to do just for fun. According to this article in the Anchorage Daily News, I believe the first fish was caught at Ship Creek, I think on May 17th. But the Salmon Slammin' Derby at Ship Creek, it starts on June 9th and runs through June 16th.
Salmon Slammin' Derby.
Yeah, Salmon Derby. And that's a kind of a tradition down at Ship Creek. It happens every summer. So if you have some time to get warmed up and get ready to do some fishing if you would like to
And
participate.
then laugh at the name.
Well,
And then go fishing.
I guess, yeah. So let's see here. You might have, if you're a longtime listener of the show, you might have heard an interview we did a few months ago with Victoria Peterson of the Spinardian. Were you here when we did that, Kate?
I was, but I kind of came late
Okay.
that day, so.
So the Spinardian, since then, they've published their first issue of the magazine, and they're getting ready to publish the second issue of the magazine, and you can read all about it at thespinardian.com. But one of the questions that they're looking at for the second issue of the magazine involves neighborhood boundaries, and kind of they're asking the question in Spinard, where are the boundaries of Spinard? And people look at it all kinds of ways. Is it kind of where the community council boundary is? Is it outside? Or what do people consider Spinard? And I'm really interested in the same thing for Mountain View because
it's like something only some people know.
Right. And say there are lots of different standards. You might look at just the community council map, which says Mountain View is just north of the Glen Highway, and we're west of Boniface, and kind of within that little sliver there. But then there are lots of other people who live south of the Glen Highway, right, kind of by the Costco on
That
the
might
Bagah.
think that they're in Spinard.
Or in a Mountain View, right, and who'll refer to that as Mountain View. And so I've been thinking a lot about that after reading, what the Spinardian was was looking at and thinking about the boundaries of Mountain View. And I'm really curious to hear what our other neighbors in Mountain View think. You know, whether, especially if you've maybe just moved into the neighborhood or if you've lived there for a really long time, because I know decades ago, the area that's now kind of known as Russian Jack, parts of it were actually part of Mountain View.
Really?
Yeah, right across the highway there.
Huh.
So I'm really curious to hear what people consider to be Mountain View and what people think of when they think of the neighborhood of Mountain View. So maybe if you have some thoughts on that, you can come to our website. It's mountainviewpost.com and send us a note there, or you can find us maybe on Facebook, Mountain View Post on Facebook, and just write a little something on the wall and give us your thoughts on kind of what do you think of when you think of the neighborhood of Mountain View as far as boundaries, like where is it?
Speaking of Facebook,
We
have a new idea that we're going to be trying next week, which we're going to set up Facebook Live so you guys can see what we're doing. Not creepy at all.
No.
And you can ask us questions that we can answer.
Yes. I'm glad you brought this up, Kate.
Or suggest music or have other suggestions.
Exactly. So we, of course, we broadcast the radio show from the KONR studio here in the 4th Avenue Marketplace, just a few miles west of our neighborhood. And we broadcast and it streams live online at outnorthradio.com. But we wanted to find a way to kind of be more interactive and get more feedback from people who might be listening to the show or who might want another way to tune in and see what it's about.
Like your mom.
Yeah, like my mom, our most loyal listener. And so, yes, starting next week, we are going to be doing Facebook live streams of the show so you can kind of see the studio set up here and see maybe some of the behind the scenes of the show, but also have an opportunity.
Lollipops.
Yeah. See you eating lollipops, Kate. They have some good snacks around here, I'm not going to lie. So we're going to start doing that next Saturday morning. And in order to watch that, make sure you go and find us on Facebook. That's Mountain View Post. And then we will live stream from the Mountain View Post Facebook page so you can kind of have a little window into the studio here on Saturday morning, but also ask questions about things we're talking about or suggest, like Kate said, music or stories or, you know, if you have something that you want to add to the conversation, we definitely want to hear it.
Yeah.
So starting next week on the Mountain View Post Radio Hour, of course, that's Saturdays from 9 to 10 a.m. You can listen to the live stream online at outnorthradio.com/stream. And, of course, you can listen to all the archives of old shows on our website, which is mountainviewpost.com, mtviewpost.com. That's also a good place to go and just catch up on neighborhood news in general. So, Kate, I know it's a long holiday weekend, and a lot of people are thinking about maybe going home and doing some pop-its or heading out of town for the weekend. Or
My weekend is 3 months long, so
so you're taking your time and kind of getting into it. I'm maybe a little jealous.
you had your time.
Ouch. So please visit mountainviewpost.com and make sure you tune in next week to the Mountain View Post Radio Hour. We'll have lots to talk about, some interviews, cover some more of the things happening in the neighborhood
And
this summer.
And some more news on how to see my lemonade stand.
Yes, more news on how to see Kate's lemonade stand, because I hear rumors that it's not just lemonade this year.
Nope.
And Lemonade Day is right around the corner. We have a busy summer coming up in Mountain View. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into the Mountain View Post Radio Hour this week. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us.